Recently, I had the unfortunate experience of having two people who I thought cared about me let me down in ways that were really significant to me. And it happened just back to back. One was last Saturday and one was last Sunday. And after each incident happened, I said to both of them individually, I was like, this cannot happen again. And I told them that, how it made me feel. And I said, I cannot have people in my life who will treat me in this way. And I don't deserve it. And I won't tolerate it. And even though it was unfortunate that I was hurt by two people who I thought cared about me, it was also it's been a very interesting experience, and very interesting how everything has played out since last weekend. And so when I confronted each of them, they responded very differently. And the first was somebody who I thought was a friend of mine. And she responded essentially by shaming me and saying, grow up. This is part of being an adult. And everything she said, overall, the underlying message was, given the same circumstances, I'd do it again. And and then I had the other person who was like, I am so sorry. I hurt you. I am going to do anything in my power to make sure I never hurt you again. I want to keep you in my life, and I don't want to hurt you again. And so for me to have these, it was just really interesting to have, like, to be let down by two people. So one was a friend, I thought, and one was a family member. And um and to have one say, literally said, put your big girl panties on. Like, all my other friends would have dealt with this, and you should too. And was like that kind of flippant about it. And the other person cried and said, I I'm so sorry I hurt you. And why I'm coming on today is because I really want to encourage you to start taking inventory of the people in your life and how they treat you. Okay. I would I would like, to add a generalization that most people have boundary issues in some way, shape, or form in their life. But those of us who've experienced trauma, boundary issues are very common, especially with those of us who've experienced boundary violations, like in the form of like sexual abuse and physical abuse, and involved people coming over our boundaries. And when that happens, we respond in one of two ways or both. Sometimes we put up huge walls, and this is a conversation for another day, but walls and boundaries are two different things. We say, no, nobody's getting in it again. Nobody's going to hurt me in this way. And they just wall off this whole, section of their life, and they say people are not getting in. Whereas other people, they respond by having very fluid boundaries or none at all. They don't even know where to draw a line in the sand, and they don't know how to set a line because their lines have been blurred in very significant ways. And that's something that's happened with me being sexually violated by 8 different men. And that not counting, the attack from knife point, from behind at knife point, and people grabbing and groping at me, and, all these things. Like, I've had my boundaries intruded upon since I was a child. And so setting boundaries is very difficult for me. And that's why part of this whole experience that I've had over this past week has been in many ways wonderful, because I am so proud of myself. I am so proud of myself that I even put my foot down with both of them and said, I don't deserve this. I deserve better from the people in my life. And that is a huge win for me, because for most of the years of my life, I've either not set boundaries or they've been fluid. I've allowed people to cross them, and I've just dealt with it. Like, the person I thought was my friend was like, just get over it. This is what adults do. They hurt each other and we get over it. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that anymore. And that's why it's so exciting to me, because as much as it hurt having two people hurt me, and one saying essentially, I'd do it again and you just need to get over it, that hurt. But I am also so proud of myself because I finally believe, like truly believe, that I deserve love and respect, and that I don't deserve to be treated like I don't matter and to be hurt by people, and for them to just be like, yeah, I do it again, and so what? And so this is a win. But setting boundaries is so hard. And so what I want you to, I encourage you to do is, again, sit down and make a list of the people you spend most of your time with, and really think about whether they are good for you or not. Do you feel energized after spending time with them? Do you feel happy? Do you feel filled with joy? Do you feel supported? Or do you feel like they suck the life out of you and you need to take a shower after you're done your time with them because they're just so toxic? And I really encourage you to, again, take inventory of the people in your life and really consider whether they deserve a space in your life. I mean, our lives are so short, and we all end up wishing we had more time at the end. And when you're making this list, I want you to really think about, like, are they adding to your life, or are they stealing life away from you? And if they're stealing life away from you, why are you keeping them in your life? you know, this person that hurt me and told me essentially she'd do it again, I've known for a while she shouldn't be in my life, but I felt this weird sense of loyalty to her over just really mundane things. And it was really funny when she was shaming me, used really mundane things like, oh, I've cooked for you, I've done this for you. Like, so that means because you've done these little things for me, that she should be allowed to hurt me and I just forgive her and I shouldn't hold a grudge. Like, it's really ridiculous, actually. And so it's really what's so ridiculous about it is I felt a sense of loyalty to her because she's done things like cooked for me and done, little things. But when it came to the big things that truly mattered, it like my safety didn't matter to her. She put me in a dangerous situation and it didn't matter to her. And only for a moment, until I said, you can't do it again and I won't tolerate this from people in my life. And then she got angry. And so at the grand scheme of things, making dinner for me, inviting me over for holidays is not doesn't really hold a candle to putting me in a dangerous situation. And so if you feel, and I'm saying all of this, obviously I'm still a little, I don't want to go on complaining about my situation, but obviously it's still a little tender. That's why I've waited a few days to come on and share my takeaways, is because it's still a little raw and I'm obviously still hurt from it. So forgive the little digs here and there because I'm still in pain. But yeah, I felt this weird sense of loyalty for things in the grand scheme of things didn't matter. And I encourage you, if you're keeping somebody who's toxic to you in your life, why are you holding on to them? And there this weird sense of loyalty. And what's interesting is that I've had people most of my life. So even though I've had some trouble with cutting people with setting boundaries, there are certain people that I have cut out of my life, and I've been practicing that since I was a teenager. And most of the people I've cut out my life, it was very easy because they were extremely toxic. Like, I always felt yuck anytime I was around them. So it wasn't a hard decision. I didn't feel any sense of loyalty because almost every time I was with them, they hurt me. But what was interesting is most of the people I've cut out of my life, and starting at a young age, they've been family members. And I've had to deal with the onslaught from the family members that I've kept in my life, like making me feel bad forcing me essentially to feel a sense of loyalty to people who've hurt me and saying, oh, you should forgive and you should and you should and you should. So I've had people in my life, my whole life, telling me I don't have a right to cut toxic people out of my life. And you know what? As a grown woman, and then especially after these experiences I've had, I am so proud to fully believe that I have every right to cut somebody out of my life who hurts me, even if I share DNA with them. Because let me tell you what, family is usually the first to hurt us. The people closest to us are usually most likely to hurt us. And so I don't have qualms with cutting them out of my life if they've hurt me, particularly in significant ways. But just be ready. And I'm saying this as well because if you decide that you want to start setting boundaries, and I'm not saying that you need to go straight from making your list of people who hurt you and going right to slash and burn and cut them out, like I'm not saying that needs to be done. Could it, maybe should it be done? I don't know. You need to make that decision. But what I think is important is that you take inventory and you start raising your level of awareness about the people you spend most of your time with and whether they are deserving of that time. And if you choose to keep somebody in your life who continues to hurt you, what are you going to do to protect yourself from them? Okay. And so that's what happened with the other person that hurt me, who was a family member. And this person I want to keep in my life. And so I needed to figure out, like, I needed to say, I want to keep you in my life, but I'm having difficulty because you keep hurting me in this way. And I can't allow you to do this. And so to going forward until you get things together, these are some boundaries that need to be set. And they were really hurt by the fact that they have been hurting me. And they are, and still we've had multiple conversations this week about everything and about, just trying to mend the relationship. And it's not going to be mended overnight. And there's a lot more work that needs to be done. But this person has shown me that they not only deserve a place in my life, but they truly care about me and my well-being, and that they've never meant to hurt me. And I do believe that, I do believe that this person in particular has not been malicious in her intent to hurt me and is really willing to do whatever it takes. Now, I do know that as a human, she's going to slip up at times and make mistakes. But now, because we've had the discussion and I've set the line, I'm going to feel stronger in my ability and my conviction to say, okay, you've done it again. I won't tolerate this. Okay. So if you keep doing this, this is the consequences of it. And only you can decide that, because each of these people, as you're evaluating your relationships with people in your life, you need to make that decision of whether you need to cut them out, whether cutting them out requires a conversation, or can it just be you just stop talking to them? Because that can happen too. Like sometimes cutting people out of your life doesn't require a conversation. It just requires no contact. And that's okay too. Sometimes it requires having a conversation and saying, you've hurt me. I don't know if I want to keep you in my life, but if you stay, these are my requirements, and this is what I will not allow from you. And when you say that, their response is going to tell you everything. Like, I am so glad this person, the person I thought was a friend, showed me exactly who she is in her response. Because for me, it gave me all of the evidence I needed to know that she did not deserve any more time from me. And so even though it's going to be scary to set boundaries, I encourage you to think about it that way. If somebody tries to hurt you and retaliates against you in some way with words and actions for setting a boundary, that look at it as thank you for showing me exactly who you are. And thank you for reminding me all the reasons why I was right for saying, I'm not sure you need to be in my life. And you just solidified it for me. Like what, preparing yourself that some people are going to let you down further. And maybe that's exactly what you need to let him go. And then there may be other people where you have a conversation with and say, I've been thinking a lot about the people in my life and who I want to keep and who I don't want to keep. And I've been reflecting a lot on the ways you've hurt me. And I haven't said things before. But there's these things weighing on my mind and I want to discuss them. And I want to keep you in my life and I want to talk about what I need for that to happen. And then there may be the other people that you want to keep in your life, and you wait to have a conversation about boundaries until an incident happens. Like, not everyone in your life, like, there's people in my life that I know I need to set boundaries with, like I have recently, but I'm not going to go and seek them out and have a conversation. That's not our relationship. But what'll happen is I know because what's happened over this past week is I've taken inventory of all my relationships and I've said, okay, who else do I need to set boundaries with now? While I'm on a roll with setting boundaries, who else do I need to set boundaries with? And some of the other people, I have chosen that I'm not going to reach out to them. I'm just going to wait until there's a time when we're together and they violate a boundary. And I'm going to tell them, I know I've never said anything about this in the past, but this really bothers me and I can't tolerate it any further. And so I've made some of those decisions of things that are problematic for me with other relationships, but I'm just going to wait on saying anything. But I've thought about what I'm going to say, so I'm prepared. And I encourage you to do the same as you're thinking about who you want to cut from your life and who you want to keep and what you're going to need to do to keep them, is also think about, like, prioritize who's the most important people to have this conversation with or to cut out, or to fix relationships with. You prioritize that. And the other thing I encourage you to do is also to think about the people who have shown you that they truly care about you and they're already doing whatever they can to not hurt you. And because what's happened over this week is, again, in addition to taking inventory of the people I need to set boundaries with and cut out from my life actually completely, I've also been taking inventory of the people who I know if I was in a dangerous situation like this person put me in a week ago, that I could call them and it wouldn't matter where they were, no questions asked. They'd come and get me. They'd come and help me. And so what I've done with those people is I've thanked them. I've made a point to reach out to each of those individuals and say, I've had these experiences this week, and it's really causing me to take inventory of the people in my life, and it's really causing me to think a lot about you and how grateful I am to have somebody like you in my corner and there for me, and thank you. And that has been important. I think that's important part of the practice, is to also acknowledge those people who really do care about you and deserve a space in your life. And who cares if you've already thanked them before, just thank them again. Whatever you can do to keep that relationship strong. And I don't think it hurts to remind people that they're special to you, especially when we have so many people in this world that are willing to bring us down very quickly. And so, yeah, I hope you will take some time to sit down and contemplate each of the people you give your life away to, and really consider whether they're deserving of bits of your life and whether you should keep giving pieces of yourself away to them. And it won't be easy, and you may cry and you may get angry at times during the process, but I hope you realize that just the process of standing up for yourself and being willing to set boundaries means you are doing something great for yourself. Setting boundaries is the ultimate form of self-care and self-love. We're drawing a line in the sand and say, I deserve more from this life and from the people I spend my time with. And that's big when you can say that. And so I wish you well during the process. And as always, if you have any questions along the way, please let me know. Bye for now.